bit of a later lift tonight, and not for no fucking reason. Today was a little bit of a trip day. Went to go hang out with my buddies a little further down, kind of 2 hours. But man, it's sweet over there. Whole ranch, whole everything. But coming home with a bunch of elk. Feel like Joe Rogan, honestly. That's cool. So that's gonna be yeah, maybe make the next full day of eating the Joe Rogan carnivore diet, purely elk and buffalo. Yeah, maybe not, maybe not exactly. Plan for tonight is back 7:49 right now. The Planet Fitness that I'm going to is about 15 minutes away, maybe 12, but probably 15. And they close at 9, so that means parking to leaving. But I've only got about 45 minutes. Now, am I stressing? Oh, I thought I was going to hiccup again. Am I stressing? No, not looking really. That's actually just about a perfect amount of time for a single muscle group lift. And that's kind of, I mean, that's dictated on volume and rest periods, of course. But the way that I kind of scale my workouts per body part, I kind of end up bouncing around 6, 7, sometimes 8 sets, but honestly, usually around that 7 to 6 mark, as long as they're actually good sets. Because there is a certain, like, feeling after having completed a good workout. You're pumped, you're fatigued, you can feel it in your fucking muscle. You're like, okay, there's not much room for anything left. At least not in a muscle building conducive kind of way. I mean, I could roll into the fucking gym and sit there for 3 hours, do 50 sets of pull downs and 50 sets of rows. Now, would I get anything out of it? And would every one of those sets be my max effort? No, it's just so fucking much, man, right? So that's where I like the logic of some of the Mike Menser approach. You know, he's like, you come to the gym to give yourself as much stimulation as necessary, and then leave. Don't overstress your system, and immediately begin the recovery process. The logic would just make sense. So my main takeaway from that is the fact that, okay, infinite sets does not mean infinite gains. So somewhere from 0 to infinity, well, let's just say even 100, 0 to 100, there is a sweet spot. There is a sweet spot number of overall fatigue and like damage and effort where that's the most effective per set. And to do any more than that would actually cut into its effectiveness, because now you're going to cut into your own recovery period. So it's a little bit of a give and take of like, okay, how much work, I mean, just physical work, like how many sets, how many, drop sets, how many extra little failure sets is necessary to reach a point of complete lat pumpedness, fatigueness, and workload, so that when I go home, I know that I've given myself enough damage to start a muscle building process, but not so much that I'm just overstressing my system. I mean, there is a point of overworking. What are they? I forget. There's a term. I guess, yeah, just overworking, overdoing it, right? I mean, sure, that's legit. I mean, that'll exercise beyond reason. It'll simply throw you into a state where you're just burning your muscle, right? You go into fucking rhabdo. But that's something that guys who run marathons are dealing with. That's not something we're gonna have to have a, even really inch in your mind if you're doing like an 8-set leg day and then an 8-set chest day and then an 8-set back day after. And by 8 sets, I mean 8 sets per muscle group worked. So, 8 for hams, 8 for quads, 8 for tris, 8 for bis, like that sort of thing. And my legs are still sore from my last leg day with the 4. Well, the majority of that soreness coming from 4 crazy sets of leg press, 2 really heavy, and then 2 more with 2 plates off, a little bit lighter. But my legs are still feeling pretty sore from those. But in no way would I think to myself, oh crap, my legs are sore 2 days after a leg day. Oh, better not overdo it next time. I better only do 1 set of leg press. Or maybe I should do none because it made my legs sore. I mean, that's a logic that's out there, not for us. Okay, we know that's a good thing, right? But there is a certain mentality of discomfort cueing a backing off response. when really that should kind of cue you to really play into it even harder. Kind of really chase it. I mean, especially in your sets. And in no way do I think I've yet mastered actually going to failure. Like I can do it depends on the set. Like I can do a set of squats to failure. I can do a set of bench to failure, easy enough. But when it comes to like leg extensions or like a light squeezing set of leg extensions, I'm nowhere as good as I wish I could be at like really being able to push past that sort of pain barrier and keep pumping out more squeezing burning reps. Frankly, there is a certain value, or kind of maybe not value, but trait of a lighter squeezing set because it has such a it has just such an uncomfortability. I think that's half the reason why heavier sets are a little bit more to my liking. You hit failure a little quicker. It's not so gruesome in a way. It's more of just a guttural, like short-based effort, almost like a sumo match. Versus I don't know. I don't even know what could be compared to well, I guess a long squeezing set. The closest thing you can compare that to would be like a long distance run. And which of those do you think is gonna kind of match more with my training approach? Oh my God, look at this fucking guy. So there's construction, and I think this is just something that's gonna be the new norm. But this 2-lane highway has been merging into 1 lane, and right, the right thing to do, you stay in that one side. You don't just immediately cut across everybody else who's been waiting. But frankly, that's not the typical approach. So when it's really busy there, I won't even drive this way. I got to go way around because the traffic is just so fucking nuts. And then, I mean, every time I'm watching guys almost like fucking crash into each other. It's funny. But no traffic this late. All I got to do is focus on pulling in, packing all this stuff up quick, and jumping on to movement number 1, which the last couple of back days I've been changing it up a little in the exercise order department. So I think the last back day I did actually, wait, what did I do? Did I do rows first or pull downs? So the last back day I did pull downs first and then rows and kind of went back and forth from there. So this one, I'm not exactly sure how I want to do for this one. I guess I'll just actually get in there and kind of see what feels good, which I do not consider winging it per se. There is a certain value I feel to waiting until you're actually in your process of warming up, because you can kind of get a little bit of a, and I might not even be able to put into words, but just from warming up on the cables, I can get a little bit of a sense of like, okay, what do I think is going to feel good to do here? Oh, okay, maybe not some of this, maybe I'll, little things like that. But until then, let's just pull in, get hyped up, and make this shit happen. Let's keep it simple. Start with a regular ass heavy pull down with the hold, but not like a full second long hold. Just a momentary flex. Okay, oh my gosh. One more. Minimum. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now it's time for a row. Whoops. Instead of some kind of double arm something, I think let's do some heavy single arm cable rows. I like these way more than dumbbell. Something about the momentum that's get built up. It's not the same heft as with a dumbbell, but it's much more constant tension throughout the rep, even if I start going a little quicker. But mainly trap focus here, and then maybe we'll move on to more of a mid-back lat focus row next. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right. Time for some seated row, I believe. This will be a hefty, a little nasty, but within reason. I'm not going to swing it like a total nutcase, but a little swing and I get this stuff moving, dude, I am okay with that. And frankly, you should be too, to a degree. You know, I'm not talking like, yeah, I mean, look, we know when a little body language isn't seriously interfering with whatever lift you're doing. So it is kind of a subjective thing, but I think going about working out with like a hard line, no swing ever, don't move at all, dude, I think you're missing out, right? Now do whatever you want. I'm not you. That's not how I want to train. Feels better for me to be a little nasty sometimes. But of course that's within reason, right? Not so crazy I'm just moving the weight around for absolutely no reason. But let's get amped up for this one. Okay. One more like that. Oh. Okay. Whew. Okay. I've got a plan. I think I have a plan for a finisher. Pose down and scramp. Not that tricky. Frankly, back is one of my more consistent lifts. Pull some shit, get pumped, and leave. All right, so after 2 rowing movements, let's finish with a lat superset. Alternating single arm pullovers, then run over here and do some squeezing, light, wide grip pull downs. Might get a little nasty with them, but for the sake of totally filling out my lats with blood, A-okay with me. So let's just finish this up, find some lighting, and get out of here. Oh, with time to spare. One notch heavier. No. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All done. I think you know what's next. And they're not about to close either, so I actually can't have the post down. All right, no need for any fucking locker room. Frankly, right here is perfect. And nobody's doing seated rows, so I'm not just hogging the space. A lot of chest and legs tonight. A little bit surprised for a Saturday, but I guess Mondays when I usually would think everybody would be killing chest. And legs, well, legs just never gets done, so I don't really have a good gauge on when people actually hit legs. But let's just jump straight to the back. Boy. Cool. More and more fibers are starting to show up across my shoulders, which is what I'm aiming for. But, dude, I mean, even just fast forward 1 month for me to sit here like this and kind of flex my side delts, this should be all sorts of fucking lines, especially on like a side tricep. Frankly, that's when my shoulders really look the craziest. Rear delt covering up the back of the tricep. But this is just more of an outline. Once there's actual fibers in here, oh my gosh, I'll be losing my shit. All right, now with that, actually, what time is it? Yeah, 8:52. Dude, that full lift took me like 30 minutes. Now, of course, it was only 2 pull downs, 2 cable rows, 2 seated rows, and a finisher. So it was only 7 sets. But, you know, I mean, a 30-minute lift for one muscle, and I do think I hit it well enough, at least for my goal right now, which is just size and strength maintenance as I get leaner. I don't have to sit in here for a few hours, which is something that actually took me a long time to learn. Frankly, it was really hard for me to switch from doing 25 sets to 12. And that wasn't a week, that was a lift. Like in the beginning, when I was younger, my mindset was like, okay, 5 movements, 5 reps each, or 5 sets each, 25 sets per body part. So if I was following my beginning training split, I'd be doing 25 sets for back. It took me forever to drop that even to 12 per lift. Because in my mind, I'm like, why would I want to do less work? It doesn't, more is better. But I didn't understand like more dense work is better than just more fluff work. So I've gradually reduced my volume from up there in the 25 a lift down to now 7, 6, 8-ish. And for me at least, that's my sweet spot. In the range of 0 to let's say even 20, I think it looks like this in terms of like ratio to reward or work to reward. This is 0, this is 20. I think it follows this line, right? Now 20 wouldn't be 0 gain, so maybe more like this, right? And I think hitting that sweet spot, oh my goodness, will be more effective than any other, workload number. But that's where it's up to you to figure out where that is. It's not, I don't think there's one cut and dry answer for everyone. But you're the guy who trains yourself the most. You should begin to get in tune with this kind of stuff. But no more chatting. Let's roll. Let's get in the car. Gosh darn it.
Whoop. Oh, whoops. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for not listening to the opinion of somebody who doesn't do their cardio? Frankly, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'm not sure that you should either. There is a certain context. I was going to say contextualization, but honestly, context is good enough. There's a certain context to be taken when you if you ever get into it with somebody. And this isn't like a specific thing I'm referencing. I'm just saying in general. We're getting pretty, I mean, let's not glance over it. There are going to be hundreds of thousands of Thanksgiving dinners across America, which will be at least very tense, if not potentially ruined by insane political arguments. Right? Frankly, I'm content enough to say, whatever. The gym's gonna be open next week, and nothing's gonna stop me from pumping iron. So that's my little political season tip. Don't get too crazy, right? Because you still got to live your own fucking life. It's so nuts, and this is just kind of in general. This isn't right leaning or left leaning, but when you see like the rage bait kind of clips of people going nuts at all these kind of rallies and stuff, and they're really into it, like probably more than you should be. None of them really look like they're killing it. And in that sense, it's like, whose opinion do you really care about, right? I mean, guys who don't do anything that you're into at all, you have a certain inner circle that you actually interact with on a regular level, all right? Your close family, your friends, people you interact with a lot, just in your day-to-day kind of schedules. That's what really matters. Try to keep that in line, and then don't let anything else come in and fucking infect you. And that's more on like a macro level, like in your life, even just on your own personal level, dude. I mean, how easy is it for people to get under your skin in general? I mean, I've referenced this before a couple times. For some guys, and I mean, not guys, could be anybody, but for some people, I mean, even having somebody cut them off on the highway or something, that's like the highlight, most interesting part of their day, because that's something they get to complain about. It's like, this guy fucking totally, and then you're going around, not even just that whole drive, but the rest of the night thinking about him. Oh, come on, right? You got to have more important stuff to do. But that's just me reacting to some of the TikToks I was just scrolling through. But yes, this puts me at 3 weeks deep dieting wise. I've still been kind of bouncing around calorie wise, just kind of eating as much as I end up being hungry for. and that's brought me down to about 253, 253, kind of bouncing around there when I'm fully hydrated. But yeah, now it's time to actually put myself on some hard limits. So I've been eating around 3,000 or so. I may bring it down to a cheeky 2,800, but I don't want to drop it too fast because there's a certain speed which makes it a bit easier to continue getting leaner, and that's to just ease into a deficit within reason, of course. Like, you do have to jump into a deficit, but you don't have to jump into a starvation 800 calorie a day um goodness kind of situation where you're like totally starving. It's just not going to do you any good. Frankly, you're going to be straight up completely depleted. You're going to eat into some of your muscle. You can't just jumpstart a dieting phase like that, right? Just like you can't immediately eat like 8,000 calories a day for 2 days and then say you're bulking. There is a certain time frame to be met there. But to start at, for me at least, let's say 3,000, steadily lose weight and then decrease calories over time becomes much easier, because as you eat a certain level, like if you stick to a certain calorie number for long enough, eventually you're going to get used to it. And not just like subjectively used to it, your body is going to acclimate to that intake level. Because like everybody, and not everybody like as a person, I mean everybody as an organism, people are just, living organisms like consistency. They like to be in a state of just repetitive action, same food, same sleep. That's why we have fucking circadian rhythms and everything else. It's to throw a wrench into that is going to cause a reaction, which in a dieting phase, if you actually eat in a deficit, that would be a good reaction, right? Getting leaner. But it is something which has to be bumped over time. So if I eat 3,000 calories for a month and then I lose 3 pounds, but for that last week I don't drop any more weight, then that's my cue. Okay, drop down another 100 calories in the deficit. Drop down maybe even 200 calories, something like that. Just minor jumps, because now I'm in a new deficit and I'm going to continue to break past that kind of plateau. And the same thing applies to bulking up. Frankly, you can go at it with a pretty much identical approach, just inverted. So when I bulk up now, which I have so much more, it's not luck, it's just better results with, I don't just immediately start eating 5,000 calories on day one. I ease into it for that first month. Like, I'm barely eating 500 calories or 500 calories above maintenance, if that. I'm probably just eating maintenance that first month. And then it gets me refed, my appetite, my metabolism kind of start to speed up. And then I adjust from there, increasing by 300, 250 calories every time I bump it. And it's made my bulking phases so easy. Like, I would hit a plateau after 3 months or even 2.5 months on my last ones. But now it's like, dude, 270 used to be like a joke in my mind. Like, not a joke, but it was like laughable to be like, yeah, eventually I'll be 270. That'll be crazy. And then now it's just like fucking par for the course. So yeah, that makes me feel good. Good to know I'm starting to get a good grasp on really optimizing my calorie fluctuations for the goals that I want to hit. But that's where, over the course of time in this dieting phase, my level of strictness will have to increase. Because if I ate this much food at the end of this diet, that would be enough to put me in a surplus and I'd start gaining weight. I will have to kind of slow it down over time and keep fighting my body's adaptation to being in a deficit. But certainly not an enigma, right? I love saying this. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. It's reasonably simple, honestly. Train hard, eat a specific amount of food, and don't sleep only 3 hours a night. And if you have all that in a reasonable balance, you should be able to make reasonably consistent gains depending on your situation. So not super complicated, but not super easy either. It's kind of the give and take. If something's really tricky to figure out, odds are it probably doesn't require the most physical effort, because the thinking side, that's the hard side. Now, if the thinking side isn't so tricky, and it mainly just requires like brute simple fucking force and effort, then that's where the that's where the difficulty lies. And that's why I'm not the biggest fan of any kind of training tips that don't highlight that intensity and effort side of things, because I think that's where the real gold lies. It's it's like that holy crap, what is it? It's like that clip from Indiana Jones when he's got to pick the chalice. There's a million shiny ones. There's a million full body twice a week. Oh, fat burning abs, or cryogenic fat burning. Those are all the shiny ones. And the one dusty ass fucking cup is the one that just says, eat hard, sleep hard, train hard. And guess what? That one's the fucking secret. Kind of a sort of a hidden in plain sight kind of situation. But I think I'll be in the 240s soon enough. And by the time I'm 240, I will be pretty freaking lean, compared to right now, at least. And then I'll just have to go from there and just see how light I can get. So for an amateur level bodybuilding show, for classic physique and my height, I'm about 90% sure, I have to look again, that my weight limit on that prejudging sort of weigh-in is 217. Might be 219, but pretty sure 217. So for me to get to about if I could get to just a regular, lean, still drinking water, 227, then that would be totally fucking feasible. But I'll just have to see. I might have waited too long to do that to do that first show. But honestly, being too big is that's not a problem in my mind. I might just have to jump up to the heavyweight class and go from there. But that is the plan. But no date yet. So we'll just keep calling this the Shredathon until that's really set in stone and signed up for. And then it'll switch from a regular dieting phase into a prep, which that's getting. Well, I'm just excited to be fucking lean, but that is a pretty good stepping stone for later. But can't get too excited because that's a ways away. I better focus on the day to day first to make it a little easier for me. But until then, cardio's not stopping. Regular lifts ain't stopping. I mean, none of this shit is stopping. Right? We're rolling with a high degree of fucking momentum, like a goddamn unstoppable force. So the only thing that would get in my way is an immovable object. And I think we both know that those are hard to come by. But I'm going to go home, eat, wake up early. I'm talking 6 a.m. sunrise type situation. So I've got a full day ahead of me afterward. And just keep this shit rolling, man. I'm not going to lecture you, but I hope you guys are doing your cardio. And I know some of you guys are listening to me. And that gives me all sorts of fucking feel goods. I even see it in person. I was mid chest a couple days ago. A guy came up to me. He's like, "Sam, you just finished 30 minutes of cardio." Oh my god! Honestly, that got me more hyped than hearing somebody say they hit a PR. Oh jeez! I tell you what. Same thing though. The real secrets lie behind the work that you don't want to do. So probably the least or the less amount that you want to do your cardio is going to be balanced out by the gains and the benefits that you could get from doing it. And dude, I mean, 30 minutes of dedicated phone time. Like, I know I sound like a kid when I say that, but it really is just sitting there playing on your phone for 30 minutes, pedaling. Before you know it, beep, 30 minutes over, all done. But I don't want to force it on you, but I kind of do. I just want to ease you into it. But that's enough. That's enough for back. Freaky ass arm day tomorrow at some sort of gym, and there will be more collabs. I'm not talking this week, but as time progresses, that's now that we've kind of broken the ice with me and Urs were lifting together. Yeah, we'll get some more of those going. So keep an eye out. Not insanely soon, but soonish. That's the plan. Get some different training perspectives and experience. Try to take as many tips as possible and then go from there. But until then, try to get a reasonable amount of sleep tonight, and drink enough water, and hit your macros, and count your calories, and get a good amount of sleep. I already said that part. Now I'm just babbling. I'll see you tomorrow for arms.